oftentimes when we begin on our own personal spiritual path, we come across many different avenues, many different teachings and suggestions on what exactly being spiritual is. And many different sects and religions and denominations all have their own distinct ways of worshiping and ways of practicing spiritual manner. Something that I've found over the years is you can do spiritual practice every single day for hours. You can write, you can journal, you can do yoga, prayer, write and sing hymns, though often find, even though these are avenues to the spiritual path, that doing these things doesn't necessarily make someone a spiritual person. And often there's a misconception that if we do this, and this, if we do these certain things, if we follow these certain doctrines, these certain ways of living, then we will be in time spiritual. And that may be the case for some people. They may be able to find this through these avenues, though something that I've sort of understood and am understanding is being a spiritual person is not something that you inherit over time. It's something that you already are. You already are spiritual in that sense. Just mere mortality and existence in general is a spiritual practice, is a way of being, not necessarily a way of doing, not necessarily a way of thinking or a way through emotion, but realizing and understanding all of what this is being. For years, centuries, thousands of years, man has associated many different artifacts and species of nature, and associated with some symbology, some representation of what this all means, what this state of being means. And depending on the cultures and the traditions, people may see an oak tree, and in their culture it symbolizes something more than an oak tree. symbolizes strength, symbolizes wisdom. Mainly what I'm speaking about is whatever path you take doesn't necessarily make you spiritual, because you already are. You already are that. The important thing is if that spiritual path truly resonates with you in a way to where you understand that you're being and that you already are spiritual, you already are significant, you already are a speck of divinity within this fractal of existence. And that is mainly what's important with our spiritual practices. Whether it's, through dance, through writing, as I was mentioning earlier. It's a very subtle way of living. But the important thing is being able to do that work that comes with being spiritual, the quote-unquote spiritual, because there are misconceptions that life is all inherently good and that there are no shortcomings, there are no suffering in this life, when it's far from the case. No, we still have to grow, and sometimes growing means that we may feel a bit of discomfort, means we may have to suffer a little bit in order for growth to happen. You try to take good care of it as you can. In time, it eventually starts to heal, because you're nurturing that wound. You're giving it care. And then when the time comes for it to fully heal, even though during the days, the weeks, months, or even years, even though you may start to feel like yourself again, it may start to heal. There's going to be a reminder of that wound, whether it's through scarring, whether it's through limited mobility. Even though it heals, it may not be 100% as you originally known it to be. But there is a reminder of that wound. And it's what you learn through. And it's what you learn through these wounds, these experiences that really make who you are. And through your practice. And so the important thing is when going through a spiritual practice, or even just a way of life, if something's not resonating with you, do not feel obligated to continue to do that out of a expectation or an obligation through other people or through such noise or misconceptions that that sort of avenue will get you to where you need to be. And even though it may be true for some people, it's not always true for other people. And if that's the case, if you're the minority to where it doesn't help you, then you do not need to continue on with it. There are plenty of other mediums which you can do that may even help you better than originally. And so what we've learned through our mistakes, it's what we've learned through this inherent feeling of wanting to grow, to continue to grow. And it's not necessarily the practices, it's not necessarily what you do externally, what aesthetic that you take on, but how that aesthetic, how that medium is affecting you within, and how it's encouraging you to grow. Just like this path, it may be muddy, it may be slippery, but we find ways to continue on, to continue trucking on. No matter where your path is, you'll eventually find it.